We appreciate your staying for the news belt. In our first story, Ghana's ambitious gold for oil program, once touted as a bold fix to the country's crippling dollar shortages and surging fuel prices, has now turned into a fiscal headache, racking up over 2 billion Ghana cedis in losses amid a deepening currency crisis and dwindling reserves. There's more in this analytical report by Joy News Research.
Since its rollout in January 2023, the Bank of Ghana has disclosed that it incurred losses of 317 million Ghana cedis in 2023 and 1.82 billion cedis in 2024 under the Gold for Oil program. That brings the total losses to some 2.14 billion Ghana cedis. According to the central bank, it injected 4.69 billion Ghana cedis into the program, effectively losing 45% of the capital it deployed in an effort to stabilize fuel prices and support the cedi. On March 13, 2025, the bank officially ended the Gold for Oil initiative, citing the heavy financial losses sustained as a primary reason for shutting it down. The entire arrangement was never subjected to parliamentary oversight. The ruling government argued at the time that the Gold for Oil program was not an executive policy but a central bank initiative and therefore did not require parliamentary approval. The cedi did stabilize months after the G4O's launch and fuel prices fell. While it's hard to isolate the program's direct impact from that of the IMF deal signed in May 2023, the reduced dollar demand from oil importers likely contributed to easing Ghana's exchange rate pressures. But there's still loads of questions unanswered around the Gold for Oil program, which has lost some 45% of its working capital.
Now, Speaker of Parliament Alban Sumana Kingsford-Bagbin says Parliament is ready to draft a bill supporting lifestyle audits of individuals suspected of corruption. This development comes amid increasing demands from anti-graft campaigners and the Office of the Special Prosecutor for stricter measures to monitor and recover assets from public servants and politically exposed persons. Our very own James Aveji now reports.
Parliament in March 2025 signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Key Accountability Institutions Network consisting of SHRAJ, IOCO, OSP and others to combat corruption and crime. Parliament under the obligation is expected to initiate the National Integrity Awards to recognize and honor citizens who demonstrate exceptional commitment to ethical conduct and transparency. Briefing the Speaker on progress of work so far, SHRAJ Commissioner Joseph Whittal says, although there have been some initial challenges, they have made headway in getting other institutions to sign on to the cause.
While the intent of the MOU has been convincing, implementation has faced challenges, including the inability of heads to meet regularly as envisaged. However, I believe today's meeting is a corrective and forward-looking step in the right direction, and that it behoves us at this meeting to chart a new way forward.
Reacting to the development, Speaker Alban Bagbin first called for deeper collaboration between key accountability institutions to help deal with the widespread corruption among citizens.
As rightly noted in the preamble to the Memorandum of Understanding, the lack of coordination and collaboration among key accountability institutions has diminished the potential for institutionalizing the culture of transparency and accountability in public life.
He also indicated that the Integrity Award will run concurrently with what he calls the Vulture Award, which will name and shame people who are deeply involved in corruption.
This, we will identify such a person and name the person when we are doing the awards for the persons of integrity. Whether the person attends to take the cross or not, it will be hung there on the person's neck. Very, very important.
On the raging call for legislation for lifestyle audit of citizens, he said Parliament is ready to begin the drafting of a bill.
And I was happy to hear OSP also include it in their statement. We will legislate and we will stop this impunity of people flouting ill-gotten wealth in the face of poor Ghanaians.
The two parties will draft modalities for a smooth rollout of the Integrity Award in the coming weeks. James Savage, Parliament House, Accra.
Now, staying in Parliament, the minority has ignited a fiery debate demanding the government's immediate withdrawal of the contentious 1 cedi levy on petroleum products. At a news conference, the minority described the levy as draconian, hypocritical, and akin to, quote, midnight robbery. The Energy Sector Levy Amendment Bill, which has already been passed by Parliament and assented to by President John Mahama, was expected to take effect today. But the government was forced into a temporary U-turn following fierce opposition from transport unions and the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies. Now, yesterday, the minority called on the government to suspend the implementation of the policy. James Savage has more in this report.
The ranking member on the Energy Committee, George Kwame Abuaji, first cited the inconsistency in President Mahama and his Energy Minister, John Jinapor's communication on the real intention of the tax, accusing governments of deceiving Ghanaians.
President Mahama, on May 13, 2025, at African CEO Summit in Abidjan, this is what he said, and I quote, "We are using the proceeds from the energy sector levy to pay down the arrears," unquote. Honorable John Jinapor, the energy minister, also on June 4th, 2025, this is what also he said on Joy FM, City FM, and Joy News. I quote, "This levy is not intended to pay off legacy debt. Assuming without admitting that this is for debt payment, how can you pay $3.1 billion, that is amounting to 80 billion cedis, total debt, with 9 billion cedis, which will accrue by December 2026 from this levy?"
MP for Ofuasia Yorebi and also ranking on the Committee on Economy, Kojo Nkrumah also described the levy as a midnight robbery of Ghanaians.
This Dumsor levy has no minimum threshold. The poor are actually the most affected because, unlike the rich, for the poor, every single cedi counts a lot more. And that's why we say it's midnight robbery. The E-Levy, number 4, was payable only by people who opted to do money transfers. This Dumsor levy is payable by all Ghanaians, unless you decide to work every day. Because even if you're a farmer and you are buying fuel for your tractors to work on your farm, you will pay this Dumsor levy that this government has just imposed.
They offered some remedies on how government can deal with the situation.
We think that what the government should do is to conclude the renegotiations of the of the power purchase agreements which were started by the previous administration, and to pass on two things: the fuel and capacity charges into the PPAs. Government should include these in the tariff calculations to eliminate the need for off-book debts that are caused by the take or pay clauses in the energy sector contracts that were signed between 2013 and 2016. The government should quicken the efforts to bring efficiency into the operations of GRIDCO and ECG to reduce transmission, distribution, and other technical losses. We're asking government to pursue the strategy that we proposed in 2024 to go heavily into renewable energy, as advertised, for example, in our manifesto, to reduce the need for fuel importation and its consequent negative impacts on the economy.
But what do they intend to do if government does not heed to their call?
We as a minority group representing over 10 million Ghanaians, and sometimes people say, oh, they are just 88. In our 88 constituencies, you will find over 10 million Ghanaians. We want to advertise that we'll be embarking on the following. Number one, we'll continuously engage the people of Ghana, civil society groups, driver unions, and the media to showcase the true impact of this draconian and negative levy that the government is imposing on us.
As it stands, President John Mahama has already assented to the bill, awaiting full implementation by stakeholders. But the minority is claiming their resolve to get government to back down. James Savage's report for Joy News.
Hundreds of residents in Afenyo-Markin, Gomwa, Brofuyedru, and Agona Kwaman, all in the central region, turned out for a free dental screening exercise aimed at promoting oral hygiene and identifying dental issues before they worsen. The founder and CEO of the Marigold Foundation, Justina Marigold-Assan, noted that many people did not prioritize their dental health. She emphasized that the initiative was a significant step towards creating awareness and encouraging the public to take better care of their teeth. There's more in this report.
The dental and health screening exercise attracted scores of residents from Afenyo-Markin in the Wutu-Senya West municipality. The exercise provided residents with vital checkups and practical guidance on maintaining good oral hygiene, aiding in creating awareness among the rural population. The founder and CEO of the Marigold Foundation, Justina Marigold-Assan, shared the inspiration behind the dental screening.
We do so because when you go to our various hospitals, dental departments are missing in most of the clinics or hospitals that we have. So normally when you go to any clinic, you see people there coming to take care of themselves, but not the dental aspect of it. So this is a unique way of making it public and making people aware that there's a need for us to take good care of our teeth.
Ted Fields, an oral surgeon in Dallas, Texas, in the United States of America, advised people to regularly practice good oral hygiene.
Regularly taking care of your teeth is really, really important, just like regularly taking care of your overall health is. And I would really like to see that improve here. So since I started practicing as a doctor, one of my main missions, my main goals has been to try and leave our profession better than I found it.
A teacher at the Brofuyedru Catholic DA, Ketura Dansuaredu, commended the organizers of the exercise.
They are doing so well because I personally have cleaned my teeth and I think they are doing perfectly well. And I've seen a lot of people here, school children, elderly people, like a whole lot of people are here. So we thank them very much that we are having such a program.
Abigail Lissel Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
Well, let's stay on the subject matter of health as lecturers and students at UHAS's Fred N. Binka School of Public Health are urging the Ministry of Health and the Ghanaian government to resume and complete the abandoned Hohoi campus project. Overcrowded temporary facilities are hampering learning with over 2,000 students affected. Concerns were raised during a public health education initiative on nutrition and public health. Ivy Setoji reports.
The University of Health and Allied Sciences, UHAS, established in 2011 under the late President Professor John Evans Fifi Atta Mills, was envisioned as a key institution to train health professionals and improve healthcare delivery across Ghana. As part of this mission, the Fred Binka School of Public Health was set up in Hohoi to cater to the health education needs of the northern part of the region. More than a decade later, the school remains confined to temporary facilities located within the Hohoi Municipal Hospital. Construction of the permanent main campus at Fodome, which began in 2012, has been stalled for years due to lack of funding. Unfinished buildings now stand abandoned, exposed to harsh weather, and vital equipment meant for use on the site lies idle. Professor Francis Bruno Zuto, a nutritionist and senior lecturer at the school, voiced his frustration.
We are cramped in this small vicinity that you find. Imagine over 2,000 students in a 10-room class block. It is a challenge. We cannot continue. We've been here for 10 years. My appeal is that the government, the farmers, the chiefs, and everybody involved in this enclave should put their shoulder to the wheel and impress upon the leadership to try and do something about the Fodome.
The dean of the school, Professor Frank Bedin, expressed similar sentiments, emphasizing that the stalled development at the Fodome campus is constraining growth and expansion plans for the university.
Currently, work is stalled at the place, and the university, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, is appealing to get funds and to other institutions that are connected with higher education in the country to please help to complete the Fodome site projects.
Several students also shared their frustrations, stating that the lack of infrastructure is taking a toll on their academic experience.
We lack adequate space, and because of that, we have about 314 students in a class, and that is very, very hectic.
This hall contains almost about 300 students in a session, and during this, at times, light goes off and the room becomes very hot for us to bear.
Ivy Satoji, Joy News, Fodome.
Please allow us to serve you our business updates now, courtesy Sweetie Abochi.
This is the business update segment on the AM News. Let's start now with our currency market update. Now, the business news proper, starting with the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry has implored governments to intensify engagement and consultations with the business community in every step of the way of the new VAT system yet to be implemented in September this year. Chief Executive of the Chamber, Mark Bedu Abwaje, tells Joy Business the final document of the review must be made available to business groups before it is implemented, and he spoke to Joy Business.
Well, I think the initial engagement is what they have done, is to listen to us. And then once they go back to their drawing board, we expect that our comments or our recommendations will be factored into whatever they want to do. Once it's done, it's important that they get back to us and present it to us that based on the engagement we've had with you, this is the outcome and this is how the reform is going to be, and even an implementation plan. Then if we have any further input or any further questions, then we will ask. So the process is more of a lot of the engagement. It shouldn't be one-off engagement and assume that once we have met the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry once or twice, that should be the end of it. And then they will spring a surprise on us that you have met us. So they are coming out with a policy that we have not seen. We want to see the final document, the final policy, the final reform before at least it's implemented. So as a constant engagement, I think September is somewhere about 3 or 4 months away.
Yeah.
And I'm hopeful that they will get back to us with a final document, or at least something close to that, so we can make our final input into that particular.
All right.
Now, cocoa farmers in the country are calling for better conditions of service, including an increase in the producer price of cocoa. This call follows assurances from President John Mahama of an increase in the 2025-2026 cocoa season. Speaking to Joy Business, President of Concerned Farmers Association of Ghana, Nana Obambo Bunsu II, welcomed the projected increase in the producer price, indicating that it would cushion farmers.
Yeah, Cocoa Board has done a lot of jobs. I mean, they've done a lot. We can't say that Cocoa Board have done nothing. They've done. But then it's a business that we are doing. And at the end of the day, when you go, the tomato price keep on going up. they get the other produce, they determine the price that they need to sell it. But when it comes to cocoa, because the government have the monopoly and at the end of the day have a lot of input or maybe help with the farmers in a way, so he determined how much he should give us. But at the end, the Constitution says that we need the 70% share of it. And apart from that, our welfare is very important because the past government, we hit on the, how do you call it, the welfare, which they put wax in their ears. So when this government came, we are still also putting pressure on them so that then our welfare will be paid. If our welfare is being paid all right per the Constitution, and at the end of the day, going into with the Constitution that we need to have the 70% share, I think it is nice and brilliant. And even now, government also want to do business by also producing cocoa, maybe having a farm that can produce cocoa. Well, it is all good, but at the end of the day, the farmers out there, which we represent them, we have a lot of FBOs around. They are crying for price. And this government promises, and we believe in John Dramani Mahama that he is going to deliver. So at the end of the day, we think there's going to be an increment.